Check it out, everybody. Look at this weather. Super cloudy. It rained yesterday, so the dirt should be a little bit moist. So I figured today's a perfect day to bring out the 2016 Africa Twin. See how this thing really does in the dirt. I've had it about a month. Done over 1,000 miles on the streets. Feels soft even on the streets for suspension. So I wanted to bring it out here in the dirt, see how it's going to do. I already know I'm going to upgrade the suspension along with everything else on this bike, but I want to bring you guys along, give this thing a true test out here. This area out here, I've never been here before, and it looks like mild to medium terrain. Didn't want to do any off-road that's too over the top like motocross. Let me tell you what I've done to the bike just to get it ready for today. I dropped my air pressure in my tires. I normally run 36 in the front for the street. I dropped that down to 18, and in the back I normally run 42. I dropped that down to 20. What I used to run when I rode motocross on a 450 is I'd run 12 to 13 pounds. So I figured I'd go somewhere in between. Don't forget too, this bike is over 500 pounds, so it weighs quite a bit more than a 450. In case you're curious about my tires, I have the TKC 80 on the front. That is made, I don't even know who makes that thing, Continental. And on the back, I'm running a fairly aggressive tire. That's the Motaz Tractionator Adventure tire. So they should be really good in the dirt. Love the sound of my Luxtech exhaust here. Suspension wise, everything's dialed way up. The springs in the front, the setting for the springs in the front is dialed way up. Compression in the back, everything's dialed up too. So this bike's known for being very soft. I feel like it's too soft even for the street, so I want to dial it up to come out here and play in the dirt. So let's quit jibber jabbering and fire it up. I got all my bags empty, don't anything flopping around. Took off my GPS. This essentially got a full tank of gas. I think that's it. Let's see what she can do. Alright guys, first thing we're going to tackle is this medium-sized hill climb. Looks like it's about a 45-degree grade, maybe 35. It does have some whoops in it, so that's going to be good for the suspension testing. Ground looks perfect. Just so you guys know, I got an extensive experience in motocross. Grew up riding motocross as a kid, raced every week, made it to the pro ranks, so spent plenty of time in the dirt. Let's do this. I'll make sure my traction control is completely off. No ABS. Let's go. I'm not gonna attack it too hard, just, you know, medium speed. Second gear. Woo! Yeah, not bad. Not bad, not bad. The back end definitely feels bouncy. I was able to get on the gas and lighten up the front end some. So, felt pretty good. Not superior by any means, but felt pretty good. Alright guys, our next obstacle is this dip. It's got about maybe about a 5-foot face on it. Fairly steep. We're to come this way, and I'm going to do it twice. Once kind of slower to evaluate it, and then we'll hit it again with a little more speed. Let's do it. I literally haven't ridden motocross in years, and I'm on this new bike, and it's pretty heavy, and I'm just trying to figure it out. So I gotta go easy, you know. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Give it a little more speed so I know what this thing's doing. Definitely, you know, the soft suspension is definitely noticeable. This dirt is prime. It's bouncy. And you know what, it's not like it's bottoming out hard, but the suspension definitely feels bouncy. Like even on the face of it, when it hits the face of the jump, it feels like it wants to kind of pull away and kind of spring up into the air. One more time. Whew. Yeah, I definitely bottomed out the back end and the front end that time. So yeah, she's soft. That's not even that big of a hit. I didn't check my speed, but you know, I think if you have this bike, that's probably some of the biggest stuff you're gonna hit. Alright, so next up we got a pretty good gorge here. This thing's pretty deep and the rise coming out the other side. That's a good 10, 20, about 40, 50 feet tall. So we're just going to come into this medium speed, drop into it, compress the suspension and gas it out. See how she does. I have to say, these tires are working fantastic in this dirt. It helps to have them air down. For show. I'm going to hit this thing too a couple times just to see what it's made out of. Not bad, not bad. I mean, I guess it's not a huge challenge for the bike, but the power is great, man. I mean, we all know this bike's not a powerhouse. It's got smooth linear power, but it's good. It's not like shockingly like, oh my god, the power, but I like it. First gear, drop it in second. I actually felt the front end clunk a little bit on that one. So she's soft, but it's manageable. Do it again. A little bit of air time. Don't run over your camera, dude. Alright, so that obstacle wasn't a big challenge for this bike, but it's good to know, right? I mean, if it did a great job, it did a great job. I mean, this is a pretty gnarly obstacle. Kind of rutted out going down. A lot of weight on the bike hitting the bottom and gunning it on out. Pulled out of there, no problem at all. But yeah, firmer suspension would give you more confidence to go into this. Hit the bottom without cringing your teeth. Because right now when I get to the bottom, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And another thing is, I don't have the right foot peg brace that Camel makes, because this thing here is known for braking. So I just remembered that. So that's making today a little sketchy. Alright, let's see what else we can find. Alright, so what we got next, got a bit of an off-camber coming in here as it's coming downhill. Then it turns. It's got like a right-hand turn right here, and then it goes up this hill. And what I like about it, you can see it's got like 5 whoops going uphill. So that means I'm going to be on the power, and that's going to put even more of a challenge on the rear shock. And it's just, I want to see how the back end sticks. And then, you know, if I'm able to keep the front end light by utilizing throttle to lift the front end up. That's why it's good to have power in these bikes, because it's good to use power to get over obstacles to keep your front end light. That's why when I start the build on this thing, I'm definitely going to do a tuner and probably get a dyno and full exhaust, all the shenanigans. And as usual, I'm going to do a couple runs at it. See see how she does. So this is the off-camber here. First gear, sitting down. Whoop. Whoa. All right, see, like wrong gear, wrong line. That's why it's good to always do a test run first. Start off sitting down at the bottom and then stand up when I start hitting the bumps. I mean, look at the look at how my back end stepped out. It's way offline. Try it again. Okay, so that time was way better. Yeah, the bike felt smooth going up those whoops. I mean, I thought it was going to be more bouncy, but it just sucked them up. I guess what it is from the bottom looking up, the whoops look bigger than they are, but when you ride them, they're just kind of like rollers. My freaking shield keeps fogging up. So I'm going to try it one more time with my shield up so I can see where I'm going better. So that time I got a little bit offline, which was good because I hit a bigger whoop coming up near the top here, and I really felt the back end just kind of really compress and spring me, where it kind of threw the bike a little sideways. The bike is definitely not as predictable as it could be because of how soft the spring rates are. You definitely need stiffer springs on this bike. In case you guys are curious, this is how I'm filming all this stuff out here on my own. Yeah, it's a bit of a work, but it's worth it. Alright, those have been some good tests so far. Let's just ride around and just keep riding, see what we can find. And right here is a good uphill, good climb there. So I want to test like pulling power uphill, braking, coming downhill. You know, some people complain about the clutch on this bike after a while, starting to wear out their hand. I mean, I'm not feeling it at all, but you know, some people might. So let's go hit some hills and downhills and see what we can find. I always got to turn off the traction control. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. I ended up knocking my microphone out of the GoPro part way when the camera hit the handlebars. So basically what I talked about just riding around was, I talked about the brakes. I feel like the front brake has plenty of stopping power. The back brake works really good too, but it is a little bit spongy, and if you want a better back brake, I would say just replace the brake line with a braided line, which I'm going to try that and see if it works. I am pretty happy with the power of the bike, the long linear power. It just, if you're climbing up a hill and you're getting into trouble, it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. So having that kind of power is definitely beneficial for certain off-road riding situations. Now, the ergonomics of the bike feels really good. I love the handlebars. I do have a 1-inch riser on my bars. The handlebar to seat to foot peg configuration is super comfortable. You almost feel like you're riding a dirt bike. So for off-road and street, I think it feels great. I think Honda missed the mark by not setting up the Africa Twin like more of a motocross bike when it comes to the forks and the shock. It's way easier to ride motocross suspension on the street than it is to ride soft street style suspension in the dirt. But it's nothing that can't be fixed with some springs and valving. So the suspension is definitely livable. You can live with it for off-road and on-road. What I'm going to do is, right now I'm looking into suspension in the front and rear from Cogent. I believe it's C-O-G-E-N-T. They have springs and valve kits that you can put directly in the forks. Probably have to send them the shock to change the spring and valving. I'm also looking at Tour Attack. They have a really cool fork kit for the bike. It's some sort of cartridge kit that drops in, I believe, and then they obviously do tuning on the rear. So I'll be contacting one of those two to get the suspension done. But overall, I think it's a great bike. I love it. I have no reservations buying this machine, and I've always upgraded my suspension on every dirt bike I've ever owned anyways. So anyways, guys, appreciate you hanging out, checking this out. I worked really hard and sweated a lot getting this video made, so please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot of upgrades done to this bike from head to toe. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. See you in the next video.